Yeah. Okay, well, thank you guys again so much for joining us. This is our 11th symposium, My Legacy for Future Generations. Our presenter is now Miss Patricia. Miss Patricia, welcome. Are you ready to present?
Yeah, I'm trying to see how I can put my slide on there.
Okay. The share your screen.
Okay, I'm trying to jot to that.
We are getting an echo, Patricia, from your microphone.
Yes, I think I'm having a little bit of problem with showing my slides.
Do you have two microphones on?
Yes. Let me mute this one. Okay, I'm having a little bit of problem of showing my slides.
Okay. Edward, is there a way that you can put the slides for her so she could take over?
Yes. I won't be able to do the translations because I'll be locked up on the share screen. But yeah, I can share my screen. I think I have her presentation already up. Let me double check. Yes. Okay. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Let me see if I got this correct. Is this the correct one? Patricia, you need to activate your microphone again.
Yes, that's a slide. Everything okay? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. There is an echo.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Control this. I don't know.
So it'll be like you're talking in an auditorium with a lot of echo.
Okay. Now that I've got the slide, I think I'm fine.
So when you're ready to go to the next slide, just let me know when you're ready to go and I'll change it.
It's so interesting to share this. Hello, I'm Dr. Patricia Orlunwo. Today I'll be sharing the legacy of my life that I will leave for the future generation. Can we go to the next slide, please? I'll be sharing about my educational life. Life, I say, is a process. As a young person, I had a dream for making impact, being a world-renowned personality with an unquestionable top-rate educational background. But my reality of growing up was really opposite what my dream was all about. I was born in a village to an uneducated mother. That made it a little bit difficult if my dream will come to reality. But destiny, they said, cannot be denied if you make all efforts. As it were, I was just maybe thinking of just becoming, maybe go to school, probably grow up to take a job, a menial job, marry, and hope one day that my children will be able to take up my legacy. But I know that life is actually a process. And my dream will not be shattered. Can we move to the next slide, please? Sorry, we'll have to be jotting this because it was difficult for me to get it here. Great things, they say, most times come in an original package. No matter the odds, great people always make their way of becoming what they want to be, their heart desire, and what they want to do at every point in life. that was not different from my own path. Amidst the crooked cloudiness of life, I was not willing to focus on the dark side of my life. That was why in my twisted path of journey, as you will hear as I go along, you will see that I did not allow my clouded vision to deter my future vision. The cloudedness of my journey of life was actually a mystery. But I will say that God helped me through, that I did not focus on the distracting factors that could have distorted my vision. I'll first start with my educational failure. That's my educational background. Growing up, I was an average student who once failed. I grew up in Nigeria in my early years before I left for the United Kingdom. When I was in secondary school, I was regarded as an educational dunce because for 1 year, in year 10, I failed the entire year. First term, second term, third term. It was something that actually affected me. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we hear you. If we ask that everybody can mute their mics so that we can hear Dr. Patricia and about her legacy. So please mute your mics. Thank you.
Okay.
As a result of my failure, I was afraid of attempting to learn anything new. New things scared me so much. Consequently, this flawed my perception in ever attaining my educational dream. But to make it in life, you have to take a bold step. This in turn affected me so badly. Although as a young student, I went to school, I attended lectures, but I never made time to study. No preparation. I just feel maybe after everything, maybe each class, I'll be able to make it at the exams. But effective study habits are the requirement of putting a student on educational success. But that was not my case. That was actually lacking in my agenda. I had no knowledge of how to study. I do not do reading after each class. I was actually very careless about my educational background and my dream. No fixed aim in mind. I just feel maybe just going to school, attending classes is the ultimate thing for every student. And that was actually what made me to fail woefully as a year 10 student. However, in my final year, I decided to do something different. I remembered my dream of becoming a renowned educationist to impact my generation. I had to do something positively to help myself. I started working very hard. Each time after class, I prepare for my class, identify study learning and learning methods that I could use to change my study. And that actually helped me. I started finding new methods of studying. I maintained a sense of high self-concept. Remember, the failure actually made me, I was always afraid. Even to study in my own personal life was something very difficult. But I set a goal. I put up an objective of what I want to attain in my life. And I told myself, if this is to be, It's up to me. The firm belief in my ability to succeed and the determination against all odds helped me remain steadfast on my study process. That helped me in that final year when I had my results. I found out that there was a big change in what I could do. I excelled so much that I was among the most A-grade students of my final year. That gave me a really self-confidence of what I could do. And that gave me a new perspective of life. And I started focusing on what I could do for my life as a young person. And the vision, this great vision that I had, helped me now to remain focused. I started working very hard. I started working in the communities. And through going to the university and working in communities with different organizations, I encountered many young people facing numerous challenges. And I knew that the only way to help them is to remain focused on myself. That actually gave me an inspiration to work very hard. This experience in me, when I encountered young people, as I worked in schools, I was a school teacher, I was a guidance counselor in my church, and different organizations that are involving young people in the communities. I did something different because I knew that for me to make this greater impact, I have to be better for myself. This experience nurtured in me a strong desire and a vision to help young people, not just around me, but globally, in a more practical way. Helping them to develop their potentials, helping them to develop well-building skills, creating opportunities for them to achieve excellence in various aspects of lives. And I knew that there is much I could do to help them to be able to achieve this vision that I have to help young people. Because it's actually very frustrating to see that young people are wasting away. So many of them may not be able to have the bold step that I had as a young person when I failed. And I felt the only way to help them better was to go back to school. In my own personal life, I adopted some young people I fostered. From when I was in the university up to the stage I got married. I had to live in with so many of them in order to give them a better life. Today, their life is better. And after a successful career in my business, I was still frustrated by the negative impact of gang violence, gun crime among young people, not just only in my communities, but globally. To achieve my aim of helping these young people with this, my big aspiration, to have a self-aim of becoming better for their lives. And to be able to do better for their lives and to impact the communities in which we live in, such as I did, to help these young people to develop educational excellence, skills, or creating their own businesses. I spoke to myself, I have to do something greater for my generation. I enrolled for a PhD in the United Kingdom at the University of Bedfordshire in a doctoral program in counseling psychology. What actually inspired me to take up this area is focusing on the area that helped me most, on personal development, self-improvement, and self-empowerment. It was actually a great dream. I went to England to do a PhD with 2 little children. And before I left, I did not know how to operate a computer. I have to learn everything as I got there. The workload was enormous. There's so much for me to do at the same time, taking care of 2 children. Now my educational career, I was actually doing not very well. I picked up rapidly, but the workload for my doctorate thesis was so intense. It challenged me, it took a toll on my health, toggling between my young children, my school, the assignments, the conferences I attended, and being in poor health for a while amplified the intensity of the work I had. I was late to handing in some of my works, which was expected at the transition to finishing up the PhD. It was about then that my burning desire to achieve my goal was severely tested in several ways. It was really taunting. After about 6 months, I recovered, and the progression process required that I submit my completed work course on time. But I was late. Despite the strong support from my supervisory team and the evidence of my progress thus far, after 7 months, I got back to school. The graduate school made the decision that I should not continue with my PhD. I've been for my researches, I've carried out the research just for me to finish up the thesis. They say rather, they want to give me an MPhil on that aspect. It was actually a challenging time, but my desire to help young people was a burning desire in my heart to go on with the PhD. Eventually, in the time of this decision, I've carried out all the researches. It's just for me to present, to finish up my thesis and go back to write my reports. He came up with this, the graduate school came up with this decision for me to exit with Master of Philosophy and apply again for a PhD. It was a real challenging time. But I had a dream. And if my dream was to be actualized, I have to look inward. While the graduate school was coming up with this decision, rather than focusing on the negative aspects of me finishing up, I focused on the thesis, on what I could do with it. Within 5 months, I became a writer. I wrote an educational book because my research was based on educational psychology. I became a famous publisher within 5 months. I published a book titled The Successful Student, which revealed factors that are not taught in school that inhibits students from achieving better academic performance. It was the hidden psychological factors that were not taught in school that I discovered, and I wrote a book. The day I published that book in England, the book was the same day picked as an editor's pick of the month in the United Kingdom. Secondary school education picked this book and sent the soft copy to all secondary school in the UK. This shows that my aspiration to help young people, it just gave me a great joy. And the book reveals methods that students can use to attain good grade without even stressing themselves. Looking inward in what I have been through, I explored great ways of study method in this. The book was featured by United Kingdom Secondary Education and other media. appeared on Female First magazine in the UK on exclusive interview because of the book. The book was sent to working mothers, parents' news. It featured on different platforms, which really helped students in the United Kingdom. And that was in 2013. It was a great thing, but I did not focus on what I went through, but I focused on still driving my desire to inspire the young people. Then my legacy. In 2015, to fulfill my dream of empowering young people, I launched a program titled Young and Influential. Young and Influential is a process designed for young people to develop their potential ideas, to producing products or services, to create their own businesses. It's a new dimensional shift of mindset of young people to be creative and innovative, to bring out the best in them. This new dimension actually propelled me or inspired me, as I would say. In 2016, I launched a program titled Patricia Ikiriko Trajectory to Personal Success. Trajectory, let me start with defining trajectory. Trajectory is a pathway. I've just been looking at the possible way of young people developing the innate potential they have within, their talents, their skills, and what they can bring on the table to take on the stage of life. This program, I brought out a design on this Patricia Ikiriko Trajectory to Personal Success, on what I call the 6W and V. The 6W is who you are, why you are on your form, what you have within, whom you are going to work with, where you will function, and the right time to start, then the vision. I will explain them one by one. Who you are, you're uniquely, I want to let young people know that they are uniquely formed in a unique way. And within them, there is something they are created to do. And the reason why they are in their form, some of them will think, oh, I'm too fat, I'm too slim, I can't do this, I don't have hands, I don't have legs. But you're uniquely formed in your form to make a difference in your generation. And focusing on what you have within, you can become everything you want to be in life. You can create your wealth. I always use Nick Volte, the man without limbs and hands, how he used his inability, his disability to say, to inspire people all over the world. And today, Nick Volte is one of the richest inspirational speakers all over the world. I want young people to acknowledge that they have something within. That is a what. They have something within. There is something you have. There is a talent you have. There is a gift you have that can bring food on your table, that can make you famous, that can make you to function on any stage in life. The world is waiting for what you have. There is so much you have that and there's a niche market waiting for you. There's a niche market waiting for what you have within you, what you can produce. The hair I'm using today, sorry to say, it's not my hair. This is a wig that I'm wearing. This is somebody's idea. And everything stems from idea. That is what you have within. If you can come up with what you can do, the world is waiting for you. The marketplace is waiting for you. And what you have within, there's a place, there's where. I call it the niche markets. They are hungry. They're waiting for what you have within. The place is waiting for you. The market is waiting for you. There is a need you're created to solve. That is what you have within you. You're not just an ordinary person. And what you have is needed in a particular place. And there are people God have already designed for you to work with as a young person. You're not supposed to be friends to everybody. There are some people that are dream killers and naysayers. Those you're not supposed to work with. But you ought to identify the people whom God have prepared, the people that can bring out the best in you. When you're low, they can drag you along. In my years of studies, I had only one friend. And that friend was whom God have designed to help me, package me for what I can do. When I'm falling down, she inspires me to wake up. And there are books too that you can read. You can find people in different dimensions that can help you, either through YouTube, through books you can read, and through the friendships you can identify around you. Those are the people whom you're created to work with, that bring out the best in you. And if you have that dream, the time to do it is now. There is no time that is perfect. The right time to do it is now. When is the right time is today. You're not too young or too small or too old. I always like to tell young people that, look, you can do everything you want, even at an early age. Justin Bieber became a multi-millionaire before the age of 14. He was not from a very rich home. He identified that this is the right time for him to start, and he started. Remember, I talked about my early years. That was when I was 14, but I made a decision to change my mind. And I started at a very great grade in school. And the time to do it is now. I want to tell young people, your dream starts now. It is not when you're too old. And that will only come up when you have a vision, the right moment to envision what you have. Your desire in life to be intentional is today. Without vision, you can't see where you're going to. Vision is the goal. Vision is what you have, what you need to get to where you're going to. I had an aspiration of touching my generation, but today, that dream is coming to reality. In 2017, I launched an online TV station titled Young and Influential, a platform for strategic processes for business startup. I've also published 6 other books on Amazon, among which Think Ideas and Create Wealth, Reveal Secrets in Developing Ideas Worth Millions, became #1 Amazon best-selling author. Now I've completed my PhD with AIU. Appeared on AIU magazine as Most A-Grade Student of the Year 2020. That was my aspiration. And that was my dream of impacting generation and the future generation as well. In addition, to leave a good legacy with my wonderful experience on wealth of knowledge I've acquired in my educational studies in educational psychology at AIU. Towards the completion of my PhD, I published a book titled Template for Academic Excellence. This book explains clearly from first principles on how you can get into the right frame of mind for studying and the practical steps students should take to achieve their educational excellence. Among the books I published were Template for Academic Excellence. This one I just explained. You can be richer than your parents. It's a vision that you should have to be richer than your parents. And the book entails what you can do, the strategies of what you can do to be richer than your parents. Young and Influential, reveals the different dimensions and strategies of developing great ideas to create wealth. The Successful Student Workbook is a workbook to help students on how to get to the right frame of mind, to help teachers, to help parents, to help even the student themselves on how they can become better academically without even stressing themselves. It shows the different dimensions and strategies and the processes of studying, the right frame of mind, and what you can do at every point in time with your studies to achieve better academic excellence. The workbook is really an encouragement for parents and teachers on how students can overcome the limiting factors that deter students from attaining academic excellence. Becoming self-confidence is one of the greatest books I know that any young person can read. From my own background and my own life experience, as a failure in school, I know that becoming self-confidence is one of the greatest things any student can ever do to achieve their educational excellence. When you're confident, you'll be able to plan your life, use the proper strategies to get to where you're going to, educationally and life in general, to do something greater for yourself. There is no mountains too hard that you cannot climb. There is nothing if you have the right frame of mind to do what you desire to do. The moral lesson for this, my life legacy, I'm not going to say that it was easy with all my life processes and my life experience, but it was amazingly doable. With a determined mindset, I made it my sole mission in life to teach and facilitate young people in developing method for generating ideas and developing them with a view to turning them into products or services and marketing them to generate new businesses. Every young person has great potentials within them. And there is nothing you cannot achieve if you set your mind to do it. The world is waiting for inventors, people that will bring new innovation into even existing products in the market. And now the internet is full with information on what we can do. There is no young person that cannot do anything. The phone in your hand is a tool to becoming everything you can do. My inspiration and my vision in life is to see that young people come up with great ideas and launch themselves into the marketplace to take the stage of life, to function effectively in the capacity God have designed them to do in life. There's an idea that you have within you. I always encourage every young person. If an educational dunce could pick up herself and become the most A-grade student from secondary school and going on to university, there is nothing you cannot do if you set your mind to achieve it. Life is only for the courageous. And when you're courageous, no beclouding situation can distort your vision. Vision is the most important thing that any young person can attain. My inspired vision has become a reality today in the sense that I now speak in schools, different organizations, and platforms around the world with the aim of empowering young people globally. On Friday, I had a topic, take the stage, inspiring young people that their ideas in life is needed in the marketplace to take the stage in any globe, anywhere you find yourself on the four winds of the earth. And I want to encourage young people that there is nothing you set your mind that you cannot do. Just have a vision of what you want and work towards it. To develop that idea, everything we have, what I have now, the four I'm using is people's idea. The glasses, the microphone, my makeup, everything we're talking about stems from an idea on what you can do. The marketplace is waiting for every young person. At 65, you're still young. Colonel Sanders of KFC started that venture at the age of 65 years. Today, the whole world is celebrating KFC. When he retired, he looked at himself as a failure. He didn't have any money. He went and borrowed 75 cents and started his recipe of the Kentucky Fried Chicken. In my own life, it is possible to turn challenges into opportunities by determining how you respond to any given situation. Nevoited, the man without limbs and hands, he would have looked at himself as a failure, which he did when he was younger, but he changed the trajectory of his life by looking inward in what he can do. I don't have hands, I don't have legs, but I have a brain, I have a mouth to speak. And he started using his life to inspire people. Today is the richest, one of the richest men in the world, married with 4 children. Life could just be like, I don't have anything with my life. But I remember when I was in the university, I had, in Nigeria then, I had 300 Naira, which is not even up to $1 today. I started business with that money. And every week I was making thousands of Naira. I helped my schoolmates at the university. Most of them don't have parents. Most of them could not, were almost dropping out. I paid their school fees from that little money I started with. My life should teach any young person a lesson that you don't have to be very rich. All you have to do is a determined mindset, and you can become everything you want to be. When things turn negatively, develop a positive mindset, a healthy degree of optimism. I can do it. It's not too bad. Learn from people like me that have made great mistakes. As a student, are you in my opposite world or are you in my present world? I attended classes but never went to school. It was as if I was an illiterate. I never went to read through my works. No aim in my education. I wasn't reading. I wasn't preparing for any lecture, not even preparing any lesson notes. That made me a great failure. And I like using my life to inspire young people that, look, no matter where you are today, you can change. I did that as a young person. I changed the trajectory of my life to trajectory to personal success, of which I'm here today. As long as you have an adventurous spirit to explore possible ways of coming out of any situation rather than being pessimistic, you can do great things. You can do great things on the earth. And as parents, you can encourage your children or any young person around you. Don't see them of where they are today, but see them of where they can be. That is a vision. Creating a vision in the life of any young person, of your children, is very important. Because if I'm blindfolded today, I can't see where I'm going to. But when my eyes are open, I'll be able to see where I'm going to. That is what is called vision. And not just having a vision alone, putting your hands on the wheel to work. And this is what I want to leave as my life legacy for future generation. That there is nothing too hard for you to attain if you have a determined mindset. If you can control your immediate response, you can change the outcome of any situation you find yourself. Nothing is impossible for you to do. A healthy degree of optimism, self-confidence, and openness will help you a great deal. And I want to encourage the teachers, the parents, and even guidance, uncles, and leaders to instill these life, I call it life great potential that you can give to any young person around you. Teach them to be self-determined. It's a lesson every parent should teach to their children. Your life is not owned by any person. Nobody can cause your downfall but you. As an educational failure, I know that it's very difficult to pick up oneself. And that's even is in all aspects of life. When you fail, you feel as if everything is crumbling within you. As I was an educational failure, I felt like committing suicide because I felt there is no openness for me for the future. But when I changed my mindset, the story was different. I was able to make it. And in life, for you to succeed, you have to have this openness in life. Open to explore new avenue. When I couldn't finish up my PhD in the United Kingdom, I came to AIU. AIU is an open horizon for any person that wants to aspire for greater heights, because you're given the leverage to explore the world and to become everything you want to be. You learn from different cultures in the university. The lecturers are great. They give you an opportunity to explore yourself on delivering what you have in your mind. The openness they bring to the table helps you to grow and to aspire for greater heights. And that was why I was undertaking the PhD at AIU, I had this great inspiration to publish that great book. And I know that the book is making great impacts. Template for academic excellence is making great impact all over the world. The impact that book is making, sometimes it brings tears to my eyes because I improved on the successful students to bring about the template for academic excellence. Academic excellence is a book that everyone should give to their children. Give to your friends, give to your colleague, even as a PhD student. It will inspire you to bring out the best you have within you. Sometimes the road could be very dark, but you need an inspiration on what can spur you on the right method of applying yourself to having better academic performance. And not just only academic performance, life performance in life, generally, on how you can generate an idea to improve on what you have in life. My life experience, I think, will inspire any young person in the world to become the better part of themselves. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to present this little piece at AIU.
Thank you so much, Dr. Patricia. Your presentation is truly inspiring. I mean, I've seen in the comments as I was doing the translation, just everyone's so motivated with your words. I think a lot of times, like you said, we look at our failures and we think, oh, this is the end of the road. And you took your failures or obstacles and you converted them into a strength. What advice can you give our students who sometimes feel like they're not advancing as far as they as fast as they want to, or they're not getting to where they want as fast as they want to? What advice would you give them? Just kind of getting from your own experiences.
Yeah, the advice I will give any undergrad, either PhD students, where you are at is the very right place to be. Sometimes you feel despair in life, but you need to look inward and bigger than this. But remember, I was sharing about my vision. I had a dream and had a vision of where I was going to. In my own life story and my life experiences, it wasn't easy. I failed in secondary school, and I came to do a PhD that had some bottle holes in there. But remember, in the greatest part of the deepest part of my life, I did not focus on what was going on. I had a dream and a vision of where I was going to. In that part, any other person would have felt like I can't go on anymore. After 5 years, when I went to the UK, I had a master's before I left for the United Kingdom. I was made to go back to do a postgraduate diploma because I did not have my degree. My master's was not from the United Kingdom. I had to do a graduate diploma. And in that aspect, you would have given up. Oh, I was given an admission to come and do a PhD. Why should I go to take up a postgraduate diploma after I had a master's already? And remember, in the process of my educational career, even after I finished and went into the PhD, I had a problem. I was ill because of the workload I had. Remember, I was sharing my life experience. I went there with young children, going to school at the same time, doing a PhD and toddling between taking the children to private school, just toddling around as a mother, all alone. It was never in my history. I've always been brought up with, I had nannies, I had drivers, I had everybody. But here in the United Kingdom, I was thrown out there in the sea. I call it the Red Sea with 2 little children. But it's the vision of what I had that inspired me to keep moving. Even when I had that big bottle, darkest part of my life, as I will put it, I did not remain focused. I looked inward. Though I cried, it's really good for you to cry when you feel like all hope was lost. Cry and wipe your tears and just focus on what you want to do. And that was what made me to become a famous writer in the United Kingdom. I even forgot to bring this when I was talking. That book actually made me a famous star. I was invited to even dine with the Prime Minister. Wow. Because of everything I brought in the book. I used my experience in the darkest part of my life to inspire the young generation to move forward. It was an educational book. For secondary school education to pick it up in the United Kingdom, meaning that it was something very reasonable for any person to have. And that book was picked as an editor's pick of the month. That came from the deepest, darkest part of my life. So there is nothing, don't look at what you're going through, it's the right process. You remember when I started, I said life is a process.
Yeah.
So don't look at where you are when you're stuck, but look at what can you do to come out of this. In your own life circumstances, develop an adventurous spirit, as I call it, to explore possible ways of coming out of any situation rather than being pessimistic. So it's like I've shared my life experience. Don't focus on your immediate situation, but look at what you can do to come out of the situation.
Right. So you took,
I would advise any person.
You took let's say per se, the rejection from your PhD and you converted it into a book. I know a lot of our students are interested in becoming published authors as well. That is the ultimate goal, right? To share all of our knowledge with other people. What advice would you have to somebody about, now that you've published 6 books, a bestseller, it's opened so many doors for you? What advice would you give students that are trying to get published?
Oh, if you want to get published, remember, I was talking about having an inspiration of what you need to do. It's all start from an idea. What do you want to bring to the table? What do you want to bring to the marketplace? It's not like you're doing your thesis. You can't publish your thesis as a book, but what problem were you driven to take up on the PhD? And what have you been researching on in case you want to convert that to writing a book? What is the niche market that is waiting for your idea? So first, focus on the niche market. See the hungry niche and see the problem they are having in there and bringing a solution to it. That will help you to come up with something great, because when I had the educational challenge, when I was doing a PhD in the United Kingdom, I looked inward. What was it that I've gone to the field? What was my research all about? So I came up with the research, because in my course of study, I discovered that it is not just the educational methods or strategies that is making young people not to perform excellently academically, but there are some certain hidden psychological factors that needed to be identified. So it is not just the teaching method or the teachers themselves, but the students themselves. What are the problems these students are going through that are affecting their educational performance? So that only helped me to come up with a solution on what teachers could do, leaders could do, parents could do, and students themselves could do. And that was what made me to publish my second book. The Successful Student actually is my second book. I think my first book is You Can Be Richer Than Your Parents. Remember, my idea is to help young people to bring up what they have within them, to come up with their potential, their gifting, and their talents, and developing an idea out of it, and coming up into the marketplace to provide a solution for their niche market to solve the problem. So that was what was it? Remember, as I was talking about my history, working with different organizations involving young people, I see the problem young people have. So that niche is a niche market. What are the problem of these young people, and what solution am I bringing to the table for them? That
Great.
is what you can do to provide a solution, and you can write a book on the solution you found out on the problems, existing problem, what you're bringing to solve that problem. That is just how to write a book, and that is how you can nail it anywhere you're going to.
Thank you so much for that. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of our students. It makes a lot of sense to identify a problem. Obviously, you being involved with the youth helped you identify that problem and propose a solution. I have one more question before we go to our audience. What's next for Dr. Patricia for your legacy? You've already published author, you're already a PhD graduate, you have businesses, you give scholarship. What's next for you?
My next part now is helping young people globally to work on their ideas. What can you bring to this stage of life? That is what I'm working on now. What you can bring on this stage of life, and how to help any young person in that perspective to develop an idea. Remember, I was sharing about idea. Idea rule the world. What is it you have within you? What can you bring to the table? What are the niche markets? You've identified the problem. What are you aspiring to bring to the world? That is how you can generate your businesses. So this is my new level. My aim in life is to help young people to come up with these great ideas, because, you know, the old folks say in my days, in my days, in my days, and they see the young people in this generation as if they are lazy. I actually disagree with them. The young people in this generation are not lazy. They are competent and very vibrant. All they need is, how can you help them to harness on the information. Information is everywhere. But how can you harness these young people to help them to use the opportunities that what they have at the moment to become everything they want to be? Recently, I'm going to launch a program on using simple ideas to make money. Simple ideas you can bring it onto the table, bring onto the stage to make money. And these simple ideas are things you can just do. Instead of whiling away on your phone, you can be making small money on different things in life. I've developed 101 ways at which you can use simple ideas to make money, and showing through where you can be trained and where you can sell your products. So these are different ways at which I'm actually working on now to help young people become everything they are created to be, to affect this generation and to move things forward. Nobody is too young, nobody is too old. My granddaughter, I have my foster daughter, I have a granddaughter, she's now 10. She started her project at the age of 4. She was born premature. She did not look at herself in her circumstances. Every year from the age of 5, she started making things to give to parents and the young people, children in intensive units. Today, she's known everywhere in Switzerland as the girl that is trying to provide a solution for parents with children in intensive units. She had a major presentation a year ago with the Medical Association of Switzerland, providing a kind of solution to parents that have their children in intensive units. Because she was there. She just turned 10 in September 25th. There's no time that is too young for any person to make impact in life. So my own take today is that every young person have greatness inside of them. And the only way to help them to come up with that is to know that they can be young and influential, and they can become self-confident to become everything they are created to be. If you want to be a multi-millionaire, it's in here. You think success. Think of what you can do. That is all you need. A vision. Some people will say, I don't have money. You don't need money. Provide a solution. If you can operate a phone, you can work on your ideas.
Right.
If you can operate a phone, you can do something great. And you can bring something to the table for the world to buy from you. The world is full of buying and selling. Any solution you provide, the niche market is waiting to buy it. So the young people in this generation, I give them a kudo. They are great.
Yes. In our chat, we're saying a lot of people are saying you not only inspire the young people, but you're inspiring everyone here as well.
Oh,
because
really?
there's really not a, you know, like you said, there's no time frame. It's just having the idea and not having that fear. So we have a couple minutes before our next presentation. I know some people had some questions. Is there anybody that wants to ask Dr. Patricia a question? We have time for 2 questions. You can just unmute your mic.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi, yes, America, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doctor, for sharing your journey with us. It's quite motivating, and I feel good that I don't have to miss this. So my question is, do you have any plan for creating a platform wherein you consider women, especially married with kids from West Africa? It's obvious that reading a book for married and married women that are mothers in West Africa, it's a luxury we cannot afford, you know. We only have few people that will have time to read books or to go to these social media platforms to check out what articles they've published, you know. with respect to the situation they are going through. So most of the time they take their phones or whatever device they have to look for funny movies, things that will just make them laugh and distress. Okay, so, but it's a good idea. You have a very rich experience that I would like you to just have some thoughts of how you will include those women that will not be able to access your platform, your already established platforms, so that by 5 years or in 6 or 10 years, they would be able to stand up and say, okay, I am this person today because I contacted this doctor that has been motivating women that are in high class in society, but she had the time to think about us, those of us that cannot access those platforms, and she created a platform for us, and we would like to share or would like to build on the platforms that she created on our behalf, so that our generation that will come after us will benefit also. So in as much as you're doing well for those that can access your platforms, I would really appreciate if you create some plan, just make a way so that we have the women that will not be able to access the current platform. They will also benefit from such wonderful and beautiful ideas you have. That's just
Thank you, America.
Oh, thank
So
you, Marika. Yeah, thank you so much. That is already on the way. I have a platform I've just created and about to launch it next month by God's grace. It's titled Raising Generational Giants. And in the Raising Generational Giants I have a prayer platform. The prayer platform takes care of life. You know, people think life is just leaving legacy for your next generation is keeping the money for the education, the well-being, giving them, taking them on holidays and coming back and going forth and everything you can afford for your children. Most parents don't have time for their children, thereby losing their legacy. So there are so many people all over the world that are not raising the next generation for excellence or leaving a good legacy. There are so many multi-billion empire that have gone into the drain because parents and leaders and teachers never take time to nurture their children to become, to have a vision of what they can become on their own. So that platform, I think, is titled the Praying Parents Network. The Praying Parents Network is already on YouTube, but because I was developing the book, the journal, in that aspect, I have 3 versions of the Praying Parents Network. The book is there where you can learn how to become a good parent and bringing your children in the ways of the Lord, that when they grow, you will not lose the legacy, that they'll be able to have a focus on what they want to become, how you parents, what you can learn to make sure that your children are the best they can become all over the world. And to enhance their their innate abilities and capabilities on what they can do, helping them up to grow. And as they grow, they'll be able to manage your own legacy and your empire. And there, the platform, the Praying Parents Journal, is a platform where you have different themes about the walks of lives and how you can pray for your children and what you can do every week. So it's a weekly program where you all have all kinds of prayer points with the needs, individual needs. You can meet up the individual needs. I think what you're proposing is on this part. You can find it in this platform, which will be launched next month by God's grace. Everything is almost concluded to launch it, to bring up the Praying Parents Network. So I think in that part, whether educated or uneducated, will be able to learn from it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Patricia. We are out of time, but I think what you said, your books are on Amazon, and even though you gear them towards the youth, they're ideas that anybody, a single mom, a single father, a young entrepreneur can use. So thank you so much for your time. There are some people that had some other questions. I don't know if maybe they could put them in the chat and you can answer them through there. But thank you so much for inspiring us today and for sharing your knowledge and sharing the tools that you've provided for people. It's been very inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you.